Greetings, CSUDH. My name is Wolfman2000, but you may also call me Danstad, and I thank you all for allowing me to join this for Eastside Riders Bike Club here. And tonight, I am joined by a special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Tetra or Tetrally, and I'm going to be commentating Wolfman's Run.
Thank you. So, for those that do not know, Lenna's Inception is a 2D Legend of Zelda inspired roguelike. It includes different art styles. I will show that it offers 32-bit graphics and audio, but I'm an 8-bit runner. I can do 32-bit, but I'm a sucker for classics.
Yeah, gotta go with the 8-bit. That's my favorite too.
A number of the other speedrunners like the 32-bit, and I have nothing against it, but that's just not how I do this.
It's sort of like how you like your eggs cooked. It's a very personal choice.
Exactly. So, we are going into the story mode. We will stick with the classic character name of Lenna, but the world seed is what randomly generates everything. And considering that, we are doing this for CSUDH Esports for our bike club, I feel it is appropriate we go to their kingdom. I cannot type in esports. We'll just go with the marathon name of BLITZ.
You just take out the space.
I could, but
Whatever.
Yeah.
All good. Alright, so we're about ready to get started?
We are, so everyone does real-time differently. I do it on this screen because it's just easier for me. So...
Sure, so I can count you down if you'd like.
Go for it.
Alright, we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go!
Thank you. Let's do this.
So, as Wolfman said, Lenna's Inception is a 2D roguelike game. The story is that you're a teacher of a classroom of those 8 kids, and something weird happens where all of a sudden the world starts glitching out on you and strange things happen. Lenna's really worried about her students. We're not going to really see much more of her students throughout the run. And here we have a throwback to the original Legend of Zelda game with the It's Dangerous to Go Alone. So Wolfman's going to get his basic sword, and also there's Henrietta, the chicken. The game supports a number of non-playable companion characters. Henrietta is the default one. There's also a pumpkin and a couple of others. So now going into level 1, and it's worth noting that each of these level layouts, including the overworld, is completely randomized.
That is correct. That's what the world seed name does, changes everything.
Yep. Yeah, so even if it doesn't look like Wolfman is going exactly where he should, that's because he's essentially playing this almost like a randomizer. There's Lance, and oh no, what happened to Lance? Oh, it's terrible. Well, yeah. I guess it's Lenna to take over in his place.
Somehow, but don't worry, we actually did take sword training that's the in-game lore. We know how to use a sword. We've had practice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So right here, Wolfman's, I'm assuming, is gathering 20 cents or coins to be able to afford the $20 or dollars rather tunic. But it's worth keeping in mind this is a catastrophe ending run, which is sort of like a low percent category of sorts, where he's going to be going through on 3 hearts the entire game, and instead of defeating the bosses of the levels, which would normally give him a heart container each, he's just going to be going through getting each of the dungeon items and then GTFOing using the bicycle, which is the tool for quick warping in this game. I think that's a throwback to Pokemon, actually.
Yep, the bicycle that you can never afford by buying, but there's a freebie available. Okay,
Yep.
viscous white, and... Wrong ending game, dang it.
Darn. Yeah, well, that could potentially help in the final boss battle, but not quite as useful here as it would be in other endings.
So, I went out of my way a little bit earlier to deal with meteors. So, meteors in the normal game, you know, they're helpful if you're new, but for me, I generally don't need them. So why am I picking them up? Charity.
Question.
Go ahead.
That's a good question. Why are you picking them up, Wolfman? Because normally you wouldn't do that in a catastrophe run, I don't believe.
Nope. So once this run concludes, I will use the exclamation command donate and donate $5 per meteor.
Well, that's a good reason to be picking them up then. Awesome. So that was a very quick level 2. Wolfman found the bow and is going to be leaving. It's also worth pointing out that each of the levels, at least unless you're going to sequence break, requires the item from the previous level. So likely level 3 is going to be bow blocked, and here Wolfman is going through sort of those archery target obstacles. So level 3 is hopefully not too far away. And I think I did see you go to Paige in the library, who's going to put the locations of all the levels on your map. Is that right, Wolfman?
That is correct. Paige tells you where levels 2, 3, and 4 are. Oh, the Jekyll and Hyde dungeon.
The jungle. Everybody's favorite. Welcome to the jungle. At least it's a relatively early level.
That is true.
The reason why the jungle level, well, personally, I love the music from it. This is my favorite track in the game, but I'm weird like that.
I enjoy it too.
Good. But it's a little bit harder to navigate because there's a lot more obstacles and trees and stuff, as well as if you're coming back later in the game. I won't spoil exactly why, but it's a lot harder to navigate through the level. So fortunately, it's one of the smaller ones that has the jungle tile set as opposed to level 6, 7, or 8. Those can be trickier.
That is true. And I probably don't need this map at this rate. The meteor is close by. Why not? Let's add an extra $5 for charity at the end.
Okay. This is kind of like the saving the animals of Lenna's Inception a little bit, where it takes you a little bit out of your way, but, you know, you gotta do the right thing for the charity.
Exactly. We gotta help get more kids on bikes.
Absolutely. I mean, Lenna's using her bicycle in the game, but not everyone can necessarily afford them as easily, so that's why this is an excellent cause. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wolfman just took a significant amount of damage there. Each bomb blast takes does 2 hearts of damage. And keep in mind, he only has 3 hearts total. So the bomb explosion damage can be it can add up very quickly. But fortunately, a couple of spare hearts on the overworld makes up for that a little bit. And it looks like we're just going over to level 4, which is conveniently located in the Guild LLC's headquarters. As a little bit about the backstory of this game, Lenna's going up against a number of sort of capitalist bankers, and there's a lot of finance jokes here, the pools of liquid assets, and stuff like that. And these skeletons are a lot of investment bankers, and there's the chairman there. We'll see him a couple other times during this run. But yeah, level 4 is actually just in the basement of this bank, randomly enough.
And here's the interesting thing. We start in the middle of the dungeon. And so, oh nice, early item find.
Wow, nice. That is very quick. That very lucky level 4 there. Now,
kind of. We have to head back to the entrance.
Yeah, you do have to get back to the entrance. Sometimes it's a strategy speedrunners take to go to the entrance first, so that way it's you can't bicycle to the entrance until you've actually seen it. So that's kind of the issue there. Oh, I see a crack in that wall. That could be interesting.
I was thinking it
Nope.
was, but I had misremembered what map this is. Also, possible meteor check. Again, for the charity. Nope, it's the map.
Nope, that's not going to... It may help find the item you already have, but it's not going to be an extra $5 for the charity. So it looks like we have the Space Invader layout for the level. But because you can't bicycle to a dungeon entrance until you've... shout out to the whip there, or lasso. He has to actually find it manually. So at this point, we're going to be going over to the eastern part of this world as opposed to the western part, which we've just been doing in the last couple of minutes. Actually, 8 or 9 minutes is pretty quick to go over.
I know, but this is going to help a lot because we've collected 3 meteors, and now we have a chance for a whole lot more. This is the graveyard, aka perfect ending runner's dream.
Yep, but even though you're going just for the catastrophe ending, getting some of that money is going to help out later because, like I said, you're going to be on 3 hearts the entire game. So in order to go up against the final boss, you really want to, if at all possible, have healing potions, and those generally cost $50 a pop. So being able to afford a lot of healing potions, although there are tricks for scoring more cash later, which I imagine you'll be taking advantage of.
Possibly. Lately I've been a little aggressive on those strategies.
Well, we'll see how it goes then.
Yeah.
Don't want to lock you into anything ahead of time, but just it's an option.
It is an option. There's the 5th one. And that's all we're gonna get. We gotta get moving.
Alright. Yep, gotta go fast.
Okay, 2 more. Dang it. 1 more. Ah.
It's all good. So now we're going to be taking the bridge over to the east side. That's the chairman again, who's running away from Lenna, and we get some dialogue about how, she's ruining his plans. And then here's another fellow, Delvin, who we're also going to see later. Delvin was sort of asking Lenna, hey, what's up? Why isn't Lance here? I thought Lance was the hero of Hyrule, or we'll cross that out, whatever land this is.
That's a bad word to say. Don't say it.
Oh, of course, this is not a Zelda game, so why would it be Hyrule, of course? Well, at any rate, got another meteor in this dead end. Very nice. So now we're on the eastern half of this world, and, another meteor. You're just racking them all up for charity, aren't you?
That is kind of the point. Also, I'm apparently for... Oh, okay, it was all the way down. Got it.
Yep.
That's a far level 5.
Indeed it is. It's also worth pointing out, I think I mentioned this earlier today, or early in the run, but all the overworld layouts are also procedurally generated, so completely randomly. So that means, even though it looks like Wolfman's taking a bunch of detours, which isn't characteristic of a speedrun, he's basically learning this on the fly, even though he's played this a number of times and has tons of practice. Each layout is slightly different, so he has to be prepared, and sometimes you're going to make totally wrong turns, or take a gamble that a certain path through the level is the right way to go, and it just doesn't pay off. But that's just how randomized games work.
Speaking of random, bingo!
Da 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 da!
Wow. Wrong one.
Womp womp. Yeah, so I'll explain what happened there. In levels 4 through 8, each of those levels has a secret room and a secret item that doesn't appear on your map. And in one of those 5 levels is going to be the revolver, which is basically lets you one-shot the final boss that normally takes 2 or 3 minutes to fight if you're going the slow way. So if Wolfman sees one of those secret rooms and doesn't have the revolver yet, he'll likely check it just because that could be a huge time savings later on. But unfortunately, the other options you get for those items aren't anywhere near as useful. In fact, really not useful at all for speedruns for the most part. So that's why we just sort of said womp womp and then left without picking the item up.
We couldn't pick the item up anyway. Because
yeah.
that item was the buoy, which is an alternative to the flippers. The only way I could have picked it up was if I had a hover potion. And oh no, don't tell me this level is going to be the rare one where we get the blue key before.
Ooh.
It happens on 5?
Wow, that was so unlucky. I don't even know what to say.
I'll tell you what to say. That's never happened before.
Oh yeah, and of course that would happen in a marathon. Of course it would. If now would be an okay time for a donation, I just want to step in and so we got $10 from Rob saying, "Let's go Wolfman." Fantastic commentary from Tetra. Now, thank you very much. I really do appreciate the compliment.
Indeed. Wow. A level 5 key before item dungeon. This is one for the record books.
Yeah, this is kind of rare. You would often have this in the later levels, but not really in level 5. So, but sometimes the way that games are randomly generated, you just get really unlucky, and sorry.
I know this is the map. I'm taking these Liz robes out. Why do we call them Liz robes?
Yeah, the reason why we call them Liz robes is because they're very reminiscent of the Wizrobes, the wizards in Legend of Zelda games. However, if you play in 32-bit mode, they actually look like lizards as opposed to these guys in cloaks. Oh, speaking of Liz robes, we got some giant ones with fire effect here, and I think the green gives them extra healing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all of the enemies that guard the items in the later half of the game are pretty beefed up and have spells making them, for example, larger or heal faster or explode on you. So, but Wolfman took them all out without trouble and is going to get the swimming trunks, or kind of like the flipper item, for his effort.
And you may want to read this next one.
Let's see. All right, I'll get to it when I have the donation message ready. Oh, here we go. So let's see. It's Ami Maple Bar. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Donated $60 saying, "Match. Our Caputo match. Let's go Wolfman, and thank you Tetra. You're very welcome."
Thank you. Okay, this map is proving to be unique. We got the fish leather shorts, but I'm apparently missing the obvious warp point or something. Because normally I would expect to be able to swim or something.
Yeah, this happens sometime, and it's not just Wolfman. Sometimes I lose runs because as I'm going through, I just cannot seem to find the right path, or I miss something that should have been obvious but isn't. So that's just part of speedrunning the game. Sometimes you just get really unlucky. Oh, it looks like we just passed Gordon the Pumpkin. That's another one of the non-playable characters, but I think generally for Catastrophe runs, you don't really worry about the helpers very much, so Wolfman is just going to keep going by.
One tile path.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh gosh. That's sneaky. Game.
That's just what can I say? This run's already going to shambles, but it's going for a good cause, so I am fine with this.
There's the spirit. Exactly. All right, so now we're into level 6. Normally level 6 is where you start getting the Liz robes, but we seem to have a early introduction to them this seed because, of course, it's going to be a tough seed. Because of course. So, ooh, nice stash of hearts you found.
10.
Ooh, wow. Open up your wallet wide. You're getting a lot of those meteors. It's also worth noting that there's a couple of tricks that Wolfman is using in order to take care of enemies faster. For example, to force them into a pit so that they get insta-killed. It's also possible for some of the snail enemies to lift up the last one if you have the amulet that lets you, or what's the item that lets you lift in this game? I forgot.
It is the amulet.
Yes, that's right. Okay, we got a key, but are going to have to backtrack since it looks like you're going to be getting the jump item in this level. But anyway, if you actually lift up the last enemy in the room, the way the game's logic sort of treats it is that it's no longer counts as an enemy for purposes of clearing and opening the doors when you're done. So you can effectively not have to kill an enemy in the room to defeat it like you normally would. So that's another trick that speedrunners sometimes use to speed things up a bit.
Yep. Also, this is the first level where I got a blue key and I didn't panic because you are expected to get 2 keys in this dungeon in order to access the final level.
Exactly. So now we have our favorite block puzzle boss.
This is actually
this is a tricky one. Yeah. I'm like, how? Oh, you need to push that one up so then you can go in there, push that one back down.
That's I have not seen that pattern before. I don't know how many patterns there are for block puzzles, but I am impressed right now.
Yeah, you really picked quite the seed to show off this game, didn't you?
I swear I haven't played this seed before.
I believe you. So now we have 2 exploding snails. So Wolfman is making sure to stay a good 6 feet away from them for social distance. I mean, explosive distancing. Yeah, again, because of each of those bomb blasts do 2 hearts of damage each. So 1 or 2 of those, and he's going to be a goner. And trust me, you don't want to take a death there because it's a long way back from the start of the level. So yes, good job keeping your social distancing.
Thank you.
All right, so since we're just sort of doing this as a speed run, he's just going to go straight to level 7, maybe pick up the money, but then go right on in. And we're going to be finding the item from level 7, which I think is going to be the amulet, if I'm not mistaken.
It will be the amulet, but
Yep.
Did you notice my map when I pulled it up?
No, I didn't, actually. Sorry.
There's your second look.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the trickier layouts. I see those 2 torches there. I wonder if that's the clue.
Dang it.
There it is. Bummer. Yep, so that was another chance to find the revolver. I think at this point you had a 1 in 4 chance since you already found one of the other secret rooms, but
that is correct.
Unfortunately it is not what we were looking for. So it looks like you might have to kill the boss the old-fashioned way.
I am fine doing that. I was kind of hopeful, that's all.
Yep. Yeah, no, of course. You always want to, hope for the best, but then have backup strats for the worst, so...
Though, to be honest, considering this is meant to be a marathon run, for the kids, and, bicycling, even if I were to find, the gun, I don't know if it's a good idea to even use it.
I don't know. I don't like killing the final boss that much, but if you... it's tough with a Catastrophe run because you don't have much health, and generally the speedrunning strat is to just tank the damage and keep on DPSing him down. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get to him. Wolfman's still going through this level 7, and by the way, the reason why he was checking that wall earlier is because when you come into a level and you're on the second row from the bottom as opposed to the first row at the bottom, you're guaranteed to have the secret room be somewhere in the bottom row. Because of the way the algorithm that generates the levels is set up. So as a result, Wolfman knew to check that very carefully and was able to find the secret room without much effort. Did I get that right?
Yes. The secret room is always in a room that's not connected to the map, and with the exception of forest levels, it requires explosives to break open. And
yes.
I have to stay up here for this. Dang it. This crescent is not being too kind to me today.
Yeah, sometimes you just get not so great layouts where the key is sort of out of the way and you have to backtrack considerably in order to get to the item. But, you know, it's just sort of luck of the draw, and it looks like you needed the green key as well.
Yep.
The later levels will sometimes have 3 keys, a blue, green, and then a red for the boss. So if you need the green key to get an item, that's definitely one of the trickier ones or more convoluted levels.
Alright,
So,
safety time.
Yep. Alright, so you're taking a little detour back to the western side. What are you doing now, Wolfman? Since I'm not entirely sure what you are doing, so
Potions.
having potions, right? That makes sense. Yep. So it's a good speedrunning strat to know that the first potion in the menu that you can buy from this character here is always going to be a healing potion. However, for pretty much any other potion in the game, you don't know what it's going to do until you drink it. So it kind of goes against your instinct to not drink things unless you know what they are. Oh, that's a clever thing. You had to go all the way around to get to the last level, or level 8 here.
Yep, it's how it goes at times.
Yep. So before we get to level 8, we're going to be taking a little bit of a detour to a top secret area. This turns out to be, to save you the story trouble, this turns out to be the basement of a secret laboratory. Wolfman's going to be jumping using the, yep, and basically taking a shortcut there. The intended strat is actually to go all the way around to the left and down, but by using your lighter and then jumping at the right time, you can actually jump over a considerable amount of this area. So that's a great speedrunning strat. We just rescued Professor Maxwell, who, as soon as we get upstairs, is going to talk about the earthquake ray or whatever it is that he's been working on. And he has a lab assistant, Delvin, who did some things that weren't too great, made some bad decisions, and yeah, so we'll see him a little bit later. And my favorite line, or one of my favorite lines of this game, is when Professor Maxwell, just as you're falling down this pit, says, "Oh, if you see Delvin down there, let him know he's fired."
Yep. It's kind of a tradition for a few runners to state that Delvin's fired at that point.
Yep, pretty much. Okay, so now you're probably noticing level 8's a little bit starting to get a little glitchy, and you see a lot of sparkling and kind of things in the dungeon wall. The end of level 8 is where things are going to start getting a little bit weird. I'll explain why when we get to the item of level 8. But this is really where I think the game, the sort of glitchiness of the game, really just takes you to the next level. Literally and figuratively.
Yep, alright, these crap knights are evil. If we have donations, please.
As a matter of fact, we do. We have $20 from the Rational Pie, who says, "Time to end the world."
I don't know what they're talking about. 12.
Oh, another meteor. Oh, and it looks like we have another one from Oh My Maple Bar. Donated $20 and says, "The Rational Pie match. Wow. P.S. How do we get Tetra to run Zelda?" Well, I'm a little bit out of practice since I was just on traveling away from my NES for 2 weeks, but I'm sure if you ask nicely at some other point, I would be happy to oblige. Okay. All right, so Wolfman here did all that trouble just to get the map, and we got the LI-shaped dungeon here. That's, I think, in some ways a nod to the second quest of the original Legend of Zelda game, where the levels 1 through 5 are actually in the shape of the letters Z, E, L, D, and A. So it looks like we're going to be going over to the I part of the dungeon now, the way it's shaped up.
Yep.
Yep. Also worth noting that Wolfman is making liberal use of bomb arrows. This was where you basically press both the buttons at the same time to sort of grab a bomb and then shoot it with the arrow. This was a feature from Link's Awakening, which is one of the Zelda games that I think most inspired Lenna's Inception. So it's very handy to be able to take down a lot of enemies with, splash damage very quickly. Ooh, it looks like we're going to need the green key here. So he's taking down these Stalfoses or skeleton, whatever they are.
They're the enforcers of customer service.
Yes, what he said. Alright, so I'm guessing the item is one of those yellow dots that's in the top part of the eye there.
That is correct.
Yep.
This level 7 and 8 are the only two that force requiring a red key. Let's start using safety.
Yeah, you don't want to run out of heals here. The good thing about the LI shape one is that it tends to be relatively linear. Some level 8 shapes can just, you can go all the way in one direction and then be completely lost, whereas because the shape is relatively linear, it's not so bad. But you definitely don't want to lose all of your health and then have to start way back from the beginning of the level.
That was the wrong potion.
You're gonna...
I am sorry.
Oh.
I am sorry. I was not expecting to use that potion. I'm trying to be professional here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to piss off your audience, right?
I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Shoutouts to Deo Man for the previous run. I apologize to everyone here.
I think you broke Tetra. So, while we were lolling about that, Wolfman picked up the missing glasses, which is the item that sort of breaks this game wide open. Which, as Wolfman will probably demonstrate soon, it lets you basically scroll across the screen over obstacles, as well as go through any of those sort of glitchy block obstacles as well.
I debated whether to show it, but in this case we get to pick up a hammer, so I will consider that worth it.
The hammer can be useful in the palace, so which is what I believe you're looking for and just found. Great. So this is the sort of last level of the game, a little bit like your level 9, although it's called the Palace for some reason. And this is the one level in the game that actually the layout isn't randomized. So Wolfman is taking a very specific path because the layout doesn't change between seats. He knows exactly where he's going here. We'll pick up this tunic and see if it's any good. Ooh, defense tunic, nice.
I will. It's using the grading scale. I forget. Do colleges still use S's or is A the common one? Basically, it's one below that.
Absolutely. Which is great because, like I said, this is kind of a low percent where he's only on 3 hearts. So being able to effectively half your damage with a defense tunic is a really great Wow. And then before I could even sort of mention the puzzles with the screen scrolling, he's already gone through pretty much the entire level, got the green key, and there's Edgar and Alan, the skeletons with the axes. And we'll now be going into the second from last boss here. Yeah, we should probably...
Time for the capitalist pig. I'll let you take it.
Yeah, the capitalist pig, Gammon Mammon. The fight is a little bit like, for those of you familiar with A Link to the Past, the Aghanim fight, where he sort of shoots a ball at you, and you basically have to play sort of sword tennis or whatever you call it. Wolfman is using a very specific strat to basically intentionally take damage, let Gammon Mammon throw you across the room, dodge his attack there, and then basically by standing a specific number of pixels from him, be able to just shorten the amount of time and just swing your sword, flail it around, and be able to do the damage for him. And he's just going to repeat this several times. If you don't use this strat, there's a lot more waiting as he attacks with golden pigs, which is, I guess, what a capitalist pig will use as a weapon. But by using the really quick speedrunning strats, he takes him down with no problem. And is going to be getting the power of wealth, some money. And now we go to the final boss of the game. This is Delvin, who we saw earlier on the bridge, and who Professor Maxwell just fired. He turns into this kind of weird Grim Reaper thing with wings form. And basically the speedrunning strategy is just to keep damaging him and tank the damage as much as possible. He does some attacks, one with a fire ring that we saw, and then the other one that he's doing now involves sort of a bomb tentacle type things. But anticipating it, Wolfman was basically able to take care of all those tentacle things and then just hold out his sword. And because the game doesn't like make you retract your sword before dealing more damage, you can effectively stun lock him, or I guess it doesn't lock, but keep repeatedly dealing damage. So you can do that, just hold the button down and then groove to your favorite beat. I don't know exactly what you're grooving to there, Wolfman, but I'm sure
it's the background music.
Very nice, very nice. Yep, so already on to, I think, the third or fourth phase now.
Third.
Again, yep, he's just going to rinse, repeat, and hold out the sword to just keep on damaging him and taking a healing potion when need be. So now we're going to get into the fourth phase, which is the glitchy one, where he's quite literally using Wolfman's own weapons against him by sort of taking them out of the bar at the bottom of the screen and using them, and health as well. Using bomb arrows, that's a strat I hadn't seen before, but it seems to work really well. Getting him to stun lock and taking out the bottom part.
Time's coming up.
Yep. Time is when we see the word catastrophe on the top of the screen. But yeah, it took Delvin down. Great fight. Yeah, excellent Delvin fight, Wolfman. That was really quick.
Thank you. It's for a very tricky overworld and for a bunch of meteor collecting, for charity. I will gladly take that 33:32 in-game time. That's what we use for the leaderboards. And
yep.
you timed RTA perfectly. Thank you, because that's what I have on my end. So, I'm gonna shout out TRSCP here. You saw the credits go by quickly. I wish to thank Tom, Jay, and Joel for making it. There is a fourth person, but unfortunately their music wasn't used. But we hope your music gets featured in another game. There is a Discord if you wish to learn the game or learn about the studio, Byton Studio. I don't know if I'm allowed to link to it, so I'm not going to bother with it. And otherwise, yeah, it's, for a game that was released in January, February of this year, it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's a really, if you love 2D Zelda games and randomizers, it's a really great game, and you may already have it if you bought the social justice bundle from itch.io that they did about a month or two ago. Otherwise, I highly recommend it. It's a great game, and we only saw the quickest ending there. There's a lot more content that we skipped totally over, so. So yeah, that's, I think, all I had. Do you want to have any, or say anything else before we wrap up, Wolfman?
Just, thank you all for tuning in for this one. I'm going to donate, let's see, I collected 12 meteors at the end, so $60 is what I will pay on the next intermission. But stay tuned, folks. Snapkick is going to demonstrate Gravity Ghost. So, until next time, this has been Wolfman2000, aka Danstad, with Tetra Lee here. Keep on grooving all, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of the marathon.